Hm. Ein Kompliment machen, das ist doch schön.
You know, you get prettier every time I see you.
Oh, you.
Have you baked any of your incredible molasses pies lately?
No, dear. But you let me know when you want some, and I'll whip up half a dozen.
Oh.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? What an odd question, Gabriel. Of course, you always were interested in monster movies and all that other weird stuff. You get that from your father and granddad. I don't know anything about it, dear. Of course, it was very big in New Orleans at one time, but you don't hear about it so much these days. Too much else in the world to worry about, I guess.
Mhm. Legen wir noch einen drauf.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Oh, Gabriel, nothing. And I don't want to. I sometimes wonder what this world is coming to.
Dann warte mal 20 Jahre.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
New Orleans is very southern. Of course, though, not as much as it used to be when I was a girl. It's gotten much more influenced by the East Coast and that California stuff. Still, it hasn't changed as much as other places, I reckon. We've always been happy here.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? What kind of snakes, dear?
I don't know. Local kinds?
Well, we used to get cottonmouths in the park when I was a girl, but I haven't heard of one being sighted for years. Milk snakes and garter snakes are also around these parts, but they can't hurt you.
Thanks, Gran. Do you have any idea what Cabri sans cœur means?
Something without something, I think. My French is so rusty. I swear my mind is going.
It's okay, thanks.
Ja, sans heißt ohne. Also ohne. Zufällig weiß ich, was das heißt. Es bedeutet Ziege ohne Herz. Ich glaube Herz. Oder Hörner, aber das macht keinen Sinn. Ja.
Tell me about yourself.
Me? Oh, surely you have something more interesting to talk about.
Ja, bestimmt.
Oh, come on, Gran.
All right, dear. What do you want to hear?
What do you do all day?
You know how I love to knit and work in my garden? I also take long walks. It's the only way to keep an old body like mine from stiffening up.
You're not old.
Oh, don't be foolish. I'm older than the hills.
Aber schön, dass es sich so fit hält.
Tell me about before you met Granddaddy.
Well, you know I was born Rebecca Wright. My daddy owned a lot of land outside of town. We grew peas, corn, cotton, all kinds of things. It was a good childhood, but my father was very strict. He didn't much let me out of his sight.
Tell me how you met Granddaddy.
I met Harrison at a church revival. There was a traveling preacher back then, a big fella named Reverend Jim. I even remember his slogan, "Come to me to find your way." Your granddad was sitting right behind me and my girlfriend Alma, and at one point, old Reverend Jim was flinging his hair around with his fire and brimstone antics, and a piece of it, one of those small add-on do's for man, went flying off. I swear, Harrison and I were the only ones that noticed. We both started laughing to beat the band. Everyone looked at us like we were a couple of loonies. It was then I knew that he was for me.
Oh, schön.
How you feeling these days?
Fit as a fiddle, and don't you worry your head about it.
Just tell me anything at all.
I had your father when I was 22. The doctors told me I couldn't have any more after him, so I'm afraid I spoiled him rotten.
Just tell me anything at all.
I never loved any man but your grandfather, and I never will.
Wow. Einfach nur wow.
Oh, nothing, never mind.
All right, dear.
Ja. Über unsere Familie. Mhm.
Tell me about our family.
Who would you like to hear about? Your granddad, your father, or your mother?
Mm, mm, mm.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad immigrated to America when he was 21. He worked his way through school, met and married me, and we had your father, Philip.
Tell me about my father.
Your father was my only child. How we adored him. Philip suffered from terrible nightmares, just like your granddad did. They were 2 peas in a pod.
So wie ich auch.
Tell me about my father.
When Philip met your mother, it was love at first sight. They were married 2 weeks later. Never looked at a girl seriously until then. And he looked at plenty. You have your father's way with women, Gabriel. And your granddad's.
Tell me about my father.
I wanted to just lay down and die when he and your mother were killed in that car crash when you were only 8. It was the thought of taking care of you that kept me going, Gabriel. The police say your father swerved off the road after being frightened by something. Perhaps a deer in the road or a wild cat.
Tell me about my father.
Your granddad wanted Philip to have a normal life. He was obsessed by that thought. He pushed Philip to go to law school. Philip was driven to art. He painted almost in a daze. He would get so inside himself when he worked.
Und die Alte hat's richtig angetan. Ist doch auch eine goldige alte Lady.
Tell me about my father.
He always hated it that it was Margaret's money that supported the 3 of you when his painting couldn't. I kept telling him, try something more cheerful, like a landscape or 2. But he couldn't do it. His work was just too dark and disturbing for the public, you know.
Ja, dann waren seine Bilder einfach der Zeit voraus.
Tell me about my father.
I don't know what else to tell you, dear.
Danke.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad supported me and your father with bookkeeping. I'll tell you what, though, he hated every minute of it. Didn't really like bookkeeping one bit. Maybe that was why he had the worst luck with jobs. The nights he'd come home afraid to tell me he'd lost another. And I would tell him it didn't matter to me, but he felt ashamed, Gabriel.
Ich kenne den Spruch anders, wo es heißt, auf alten Pfannen lernt man kochen. Ah, du meinst, auf alten Gäulen lernt man reiten. Ja, so geht's natürlich auch. Und was macht man, wenn man vom Pferd fällt? Man erschießt es.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Harrison was only 36 when he died. Your father was 8 years old at the time. Your granddad was hit by a streetcar in the business district. Took me nearly a year to believe he was really gone.
I'm sorry, Gran.
I know you are, dear.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Did you know that your granddad was a poet? He was! He wrote the most beautiful poetry for me when we were courting. I always thought he should have done something with that gift. But he was such a practical man. Didn't believe in chasing after dreams.
Tell me something about Granddad.
I don't know what else to tell you, dear.
Gut, dann noch über meine Mutter.
Tell me about my mother.
Your mother was Margaret Templeton when your father met her. She came from a very wealthy Creole family in New Orleans. She was beautiful and reckless. She was madly in love with your father, of course, But I also think she liked defying her family. Since you're so
Oh.
interested in family history these days, why don't you go by St. Louis Cemetery number 1 and visit the family tomb?
Ja, unbedingt.
It would be a sweet gesture.
Maybe I will. Tell me about my mother.
Your mother's family refused to give her money after the marriage.
Boah.
All she had left was a modest trust fund from her great-aunt, who happened to like Philip. The remainder of your mother's trust fund became yours when she died. That's what you used to open your bookshop.
Tell me about my mother.
The Templetons are all gone now. Every last one of them. They never wanted anything to do with us, of course. What a waste.
Tell me about my mother.
I don't know what else to tell you, dear.
Okay. So, noch ein letztes
You've
Kompliment.
lost weight. Are you caught in a new man?
Oh, Gabriel, don't be silly. You know there'll never be anyone but your granddad for me.
Ja, früher war Betreuer tatsächlich noch wichtig und die Institution der Ehe auch tatsächlich noch etwas wert. Ich gehe mal auf den Dachboden, wenn's beliebt.
I'm going to go up to the attic, Gran.
Be careful of the dust.
Und was haben wir hier Schönes?
I think I'll take Daddy's sketchbook with me.
Ah ja.
There's nothing I want in there.
Ah ja. Ganz sicher.
That box of knickknacks has been up there for at least 5 years.
Okay. Wir könnten die Golfschläger mitnehmen und damit das Schloss in der Polizeistation aufbrechen. So.
I think I'll leave that up here.
Okay, dann halt nicht.
It looks pretty heavy.
Öffne Truhe.
The lid is blocked by the clock.
Nimm
Gabriel
Klopf.
doesn't want to take the clock.
Bewege sie halt. Okay. Öffne Truhe. Guck in Truhe.
The trunk contains some old clothes, including a pair of leather shorts,
Aren't those called lederhosen?
serious hiking boots, more of Harrison Knight German book,
Just what I need.
Hm.
and a bundle of letters. Love letters between Harrison and Rebecca.
Hm. Ja, her mit dem Scheiß.
I don't think there's anything in that trunk that would interest anybody but my gran.
Aber irgendwas doch.
The trunk contains
Okay. Nun, was gibt es da?
an elaborate mechanical clock, probably of German origin, is among the discarded treasures of the attic. It doesn't seem to be running at the moment.
Gut, wie war das mit dieser... Wir haben hier einen kleinen Schlüssel.
Nothing happens.
Nichts geschieht, okay.
The ring of symbols does not appear to have any
Der Ring mit Symbolen lässt sich bewegen.
Why move that part of the clock?
Achso. Ich setze es auf den Drachenkopf. Ich hoffe, dass es ein Drache ist. Und die Zeiger auf 3:00 Uhr. Na komm.
Granddaddy, you old fox.
Warum wusste ich das noch? Das ist über 20 Jahre her. Aber wie komme ich auf die Information? 3 Uhr und Drachenkopf. Nun, nichtsdestotrotz.
Gabriel doesn't want to take the clock. The old photographs show Gabriel's grandfather with 2 other men that Gabriel has not identified.
Mhm. Dann gab es da noch ein Brief.
The letter is addressed to Heinz Ritter, whoever that is. Gabriel looks fondly at his father's sketchbook and charcoal pencil.
Schön. Fett.
Images haunt the pages of Philip Knight's sketchbook, the way they must have haunted his mind. The images touch a deep chord in Gabriel.
Mhm.
So familiar are they that he finds it hard to believe they aren't from his own subconscious.
Das hier finde ich ganz besonders geil. Und das Medaillon und Dinge aus unserem Traum. Hier das Feuer und...
Images haunt the image.
Kann ich umblättern? Nein.
Images the
Lies den Brief.
The letter is written in German, but Gabriel determines what he can about it. It was sent from a place called Schloss Ritter in Rittersberg, West Germany. The letter is addressed to mein Sohn Heinz and signed Wilhelm Ritter. One of the recurring words strewn throughout the letter is the word Schattenjäger. The only thing that Gabriel can decipher about the letter is a sense of urgency in the handwriting and in the heavy use of quill-tip bold strokes and underlining.
Mhm.
This is the key should stay with the clock.
Gut, das wäre dann wohl das. Sonst noch was? Ich glaube nicht. Oma, könntest du vielleicht noch genug Deutsch kennen, um...
That's it. Take a load off, hon.
Does this mean anything to you, Gran?
No, dear. I'm afraid I don't speak a word of German.
Okay. Blöd. Kann ich eine Nadel haben? Gab's
Steal Granny's knitting? How low can you get?
einer? Darf's doch mal probieren. Nun gut, werte Frau Großmutter, ich glaube, ich gehe dann
Are you
mal.
okay, Gran?
I'm right as rain, boy.
Ja, ja.
Well, Gran, I better get going.
All right, dear.
Hätte ich sie noch was fragen können? Und wie bin ich auf die... Wie bin ich auf die 3 Uhr auf der Uhr gekommen und auf das Drachenkopf-Symbol? Ich weiß nur, dass ich es noch auswendig wusste, aber wie? Keine Ahnung. Ja, lass uns doch einfach mal klopfen. Nein, lass uns direkt eintreten.
Gabriel can't get inside unless he's invited.
Okay.
Gabriel can't...
Klopfen.
There's no one outside the house to talk.
Das hat sich eingebrannt. Oh ja, das hat es. Nach über 20 Jahren. Wusste ich auf Anhieb, wie ich die Kombination einstellen muss. Und ich habe keine Ahnung, wo ich diese Information hergenommen habe. Das fühlt sich ganz, ganz speziell an. Auch ganz schwer zu beschreiben. Vielleicht unter der Fußmatte.
Gabriel can... That doesn't... Why move? This door... There's no... This door...
Am Türknauf vielleicht? Ja, danke. Also nicht Türknauf, sondern...
May I help you?
Ja, ich möchte bitte hinein.
I'd like to see Malia Getty, please. I'm sorry, but unless you have an appointment or official business, I cannot announce you.
Would you go fuck yourself in particular?
I do have official business. Really? Please tell me the nature of your business.
Nun, ich verkaufe diese Lederjacken. Ich hätte hier ein Foto von einem Mord.
Does this do anything for you? No, it does not, sir.
Nee. Ja, wir haben hier gar nichts, was wir mit Malia Getty in Verbindung bringen könnten. Und so.
Does this do anything for you? No, it does not, sir.
Ja, dann.
Just as I thought. A good day, sir.
Fuck you. Ebenfalls. Du Pfeife. Der Friedhof. Ich würde immer noch gerne einen Weg finden, wie ich an diesem... Oh! Ah! Ja, schau einer an. Das ging ja leichter als gedacht. So löst sich das Problem also. Jetzt ist er offen. Oh, und wir können ihn 30, nee, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 Grad Celsius hochschalten. Natürlich ist Fahrenheit, aber ...100 Grad Fahrenheit ist exakt die Körpertemperatur, das heißt, es ist jetzt bei ungefähr, was weiß ich, 34,2 Grad, kommt es ungefähr hin. Ist schon eine rechte Temperatur, die wir hier eingestellt haben.
Hey, hey, hey. Knight, come on in. Whew, it's hot. Dang, the air conditioning must be on the blink. Are you hot? Man, I'm hot.
Auf jeden Fall ist es warm genug, um unseren Kumpel Mose Eiley dazu bringen, seine Jacke auszuziehen.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
Und nachdem wir ihn, indem
How
wir
about
ihn
getting me
nach
some
einem
coffee?
Kaffee schicken,
What am I, your slave?
Hey, I'm working my butt off here.
Yeah, fine. Some people are never satisfied.
können wir uns jetzt direkt an seiner Jacke vergreifen. Was ist das hier Schönes? Wäre doch eine Schande, wenn diese Polizeimarke einfach ungenutzt
I think I'll
rumliegt.
just borrow this badge.
Danke.
Hey, what are you doing with my coat?
Nothing. I thought I saw something crawling on it.
Ja.
Just drink this.
Thanks.
Danke.
Tons. I mean it.
Hm. Wir haben die Marke. Ich speichere nochmal. Ich bin Polizist, bitte weisen Sie sich aus.
Mosley will notice that his badge is gone soon enough.
Gut. Ja, das wird lustig, wenn er das merkt. Des Weiteren. Das zeige ich ihm besser nicht. Der Brief ist für ihn
This
irrelevant.
is the first page.
Okay. Was gibt es denn so Neues?
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
No. Ha! Is that anything like a Chuck Yeager?
I don't think there's any relation. Have you ever called the hair club for men?
I'd rather...
Do you have any idea what caprice en coeur means?
Hell no. Is that French? My mother spoke it, but I always had a hard enough time just speaking English.
True enough.
Glaube ich sogar.
Do you know anything about snakes?
The only thing I know about snakes is I don't like them.
Gut, das wissen wir alles schon.
What's the status on the Voodoo Murders case?
You're as filled in as me.
Tell me about yourself.
What else do you want?
Just tell me anything at all.
Remember how we used to play monkey in the middle? We used
Ja,
to
ja,
eat
ja.
out, and we...
Yep, and it was... Oh, nothing.
It's your dime.
So how'd you ever find anything in this office? Look,
Hey, I get my job done. I'm a detective, not Betty Crocker.
Und tschüss. Gut, ich denke fürs Erste bin ich hier fertig.
well, I'll be seeing you.
Later, Knight.
So, ja, ja, ich glaube ja. Und dann wollen wir doch mal sehen. Was dieser Lakai zu sagen hat, wenn wir ihm eine Polizeimarke unter die Nase halten.
May I help you? I'm sorry. I do, really.
Bitte?
Gabriel doesn't want to display his possession of that badge. When he's ready,
My name is
geht
Detective
doch.
Mosley. I'm here on police
So
business.
verklickt.
Really? How interesting. Wait here. I'll inform Miss Giddy.
Oh yeah, wir werden vorgelassen zu der schönen Braut.
Miss Giddy will see you. Right this way.
Geil.
Miss Giddy will be down shortly. Thank you.
Gut, solange tue ich da mal ein paar Schalter umlegen und Dinge mitnehmen.
What can I do for you, Detective?
Ich bin Polizist, guck.
Does this mean anything to you?
It got you in to see me, Detective, so it obviously means something to me.
Ja, natürlich.
This is quite a place.
Thank you. It's been in the family a long time.
Ich bräuchte auch so ein Zimmer. Eventuell kaufe ich eines Tages die Nachbarswohnung und richte sie um in sowas.
Mind if I ask you a few questions, Miss Giddy?
I assume that's what you're here for, Detective.
So, ist übrigens nicht so mein Typ, muss ich sagen. Guck, Quickie, Brüste! Ich gehe mal ganz rasch wohin. Tu dir keinen Zwang an. Übrigens, genau, das wollte ich dich noch fragen. Hättest du morgen Abend so gegen 20 Uhr Zeit und Lust, ein, zwei Runden Cards Against Humanity zu spielen mit einem ausgewählten Haufen kranker Leute, also ich und Anne und vielleicht noch ein paar andere? Liebe, danke. Weil das Wochenende wäre eigentlich wieder Speinacht gewesen. Ist es nur nicht, weil sie arbeiten muss und so und ich mir das Ticket nicht leisten kann zu ihr hin. Kannst du machen. Cool. Auch im Discord und so, weil es einfach lustiger ist, wenn sich alle miteinander unterhalten können über den kranken Mist, den man so rauslässt. Ist sie eigentlich noch? Nein, sie ist nicht mehr im Chat. Pennt vermutlich schon. Jo, dann klären wir das auf jeden Fall noch morgen ab. Ich schreibe dich nochmal an auf Steam oder so. Gib mal deinen Discord-Server. Ja, kann ich eigentlich rasch raushauen. Moment. Ich habe das gar nicht standardmäßig offen. Download, Update 2, Update 3, bah. Checken für Updates, Starting. Hast nicht mal auf Twitch-Seite drauf? Ja, ich nutze das halt nie. So, wo finde ich meinen Channel-Dings da? Leute einladen. So. Gut, das wäre das. Yeah. Cool, das wird sicher super lustig und wunderbar krank. Ich weiß gar nicht, ob ich das also ich bin mir ziemlich sicher, dass ich das im Nachhinein nicht hätte streamen dürfen, was morgen alles dabei rauskommt. Aber mal gucken, mal gucken. Wir nehmen auch so ein paar Custom Decks, also so N ist im Moment, ja, jetzt pennt sie, aber sie war den ganzen Tag dran, die wirklich kränkesten Decks rauszusuchen und die kaputtesten Karten zusammenzustellen. Und ja, weil da kann man ja ganz viele Karten selbst schreiben und so. Und das Cards Against Humanity Ding, das ist so ein Online-Ding, wo man das gratis spielen kann über den Browser. Geht ganz leicht, habe ich heute gesehen. So, weiter geht's. Machen wir noch ein bisschen was. Nicht mal allzu lange. Ich bin auch schon ein bisschen müde und ich habe seit Tagen so diese komischen Verspannungen und fast beinahe schon Schmerzen. Ich denke, ich brüte irgendwas aus oder bin schon mittendrin, aber nichtsdestotrotz. Ich würde sagen, ich mache jetzt einfach noch weiter, bis ich nicht mehr auf Anhieb weiterkomme und dann... ja. Dann... auch mal bettwärts langsam. Aber zuerst mal... flirten. Schmeißt sie uns dann raus.
Excuse me, but your eyes are really distracting. I don't think I've ever seen a color quite like that. Brownish gold.
Ja,
It's so
Augen
deep,
lenken mich ab.
rich.
So,
Man, if I could bottle that, I'd make a fortune.
Thank you, Detective. That's an interesting observation, though probably not relevant to your case.
A
Nicht
good
wirklich.
detective never knows what might be relevant, Miss Getty.
Then you must be truly exceptional at your job.
Ja, ja.
Can you tell me anything about what happened out at the lake?
I wish I could, but I've never seen or heard anything unusual at the lake, and I do spend quite a bit of time out there.
Ja, was?
Can you tell me anything about what happened
Hab
out
gerade
at
auf
the
die
lake?
Augen geguckt.
I wish I could, but I've never seen or heard anything unusual.
Tell me about yourself.
I suppose I don't really have a choice. What do you want to know, Detective?
Eigentlich gar nicht so viel. Ja. Ja, Gabriel steht auf sie. Ich mach das Spiel mit.
Do you have a husband? A boyfriend?
I'm very independent, Detective. The women in my family have always preferred it that way.
So, you've never been married.
No, and I never will be.
What about children?
Yes, that is likely. Someday.
Hm. Ich glaube nicht, aber ich greife vor. Ja.
I'd like to hear just about anything.
I do a lot of charity work around the city, primarily in the prison and reform system. I'm not a professional sociologist, but it does interest me.
Ich würde gerne alles wissen, aber ich habe keinen Bock zu fragen.
I
und
wouldn't
so.
know where to begin.
As you wish, Detective.
Aber irgendwas weißt du doch bestimmt, oder?
Do you have any idea what Capri Saint-Gar means?
No, I don't. What does it mean, Detective?
That's confidential information, ma'am.
Ne.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
No, I'm afraid I can't help you with that, Detective.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm afraid I quite abhor them.
Tell me about your life in New Orleans.
The Getty family came to New Orleans in 1800. We worked very hard to get where we are. On the other hand, we've done a lot for this community.
I can believe that. You're doing a lot for me right now. What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The murders? Only what I read in the papers.
And what do you read in the papers?
I'm sure you know much more about it than I, Detective.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? Why would you want to know about that, Detective? It's rather silly, isn't it?
There's nothing silly about the voodoo murders.
But that voodoo is faked. That's what I've read in the papers.
Ja,
That's
vielleicht.
what the papers say, all right.
But you're not convinced?
No, frankly, I'm not. The police department isn't known for its imagination.
Oh, Well, I can see that your imagination is considerable. I think this has gone on long enough. You're not really a detective, are you?
Doch, doch, doch.
Who, me? Well, I am on this case, Miss Getty.
I saw you at the lake yesterday. I thought you must be with the police since you were there, but you don't act like a police officer. Besides, I'm rather certain that the other man said his name was Mosley.
All right, you caught me. I'm not with the police. My name is Gabriel Knight. I'm a writer working with Detective Mosley on a book.
Well, Mr. Knight, now that we've established who you are, perhaps you can tell me the real reason you're here.
Well, I am researching the book, and I thought you might have seen or heard something at the lake.
I don't like liars, Mr. Knight.
Okay, you're right. I really just wanted to see you again. You can be mad at me if you want, but I swear I've never done anything like this before.
Mr. Knight, you've lied about your identity and wasted my time with meaningless questions. If it weren't vaguely flattering, I'd really be angry. You're lucky I don't call the real police. I think you should go, Mr. Knight.
Zum Glück bin ich. Aber.
Wait. If you just give me a chance.
I've wasted enough time. I'll have Robert show you out.
Okay.
Robert?
Oh Gott, du bist ja
Show
riesig.
Mr. Knight out, please.
I most certainly will.
Thank you very much. I had a lovely time. Ah, shit.
Ja, wir haben zumindest einen Fuß in die Tür gekriegt und konnten von Glück reden, dass er uns nicht abgeschlagen wurde. Nichtsdestotrotz, wir gehen nochmal auf den Ort des Tates zu, wo wir diese Zeichen auf dem Boden mit unserem Notizblock. Genau.
Let me try to get this down.
So.
This is the
Verschafft
last
uns
page.
halt die Schnauze. Eine weitere Seite.
The partial pattern from the crime scenes intrigues Gabriel. What does it mean?
Die wir so gleich vergleichen mit dem hier.
Those two objects would have
Warum auch immer das nicht geht.
Gabriel.
Ne,
Gabriel.
ne. Okay, wenn ich diese hier mit dem vergleiche.
Using that on the lines wouldn't be helpful.
Ne. Ich dachte, man könnte diese Seiten miteinander kombinieren und irgendwie.
Those two objects.
Aber wohl nicht. Noch nicht. Nun gut, nun gut. Ich hoffe nur, dass ich nicht irgendwo eine Kleinigkeit vergessen habe, aber der Friedhof wäre noch da. Und natürlich das Voodoo-Museum, in dem nun dieser wirkliche Inhaber sich befindet.
Welcome,
Genau.
my friend.
Hello?
I am the proprietor, Dr. John. If you have any questions, I will be happy to assist.
Great. My name is Knight, and I'll probably take you up on that.
Schon wieder so ein riesengroßer Kerl.
I wish Malia Getty was permanently grafted to my thighs.
Was? Habt ihr das wirklich sicher richtig übersetzt?
Gabriel has no interest in the noisy fan.
Jo.
This is quite a place you have here.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. I have dedicated myself to the preservation of this unique culture. It is gratifying to see others reap the fruits I have sown.
So.
Hey, I'll ask the questions around here.
Ja. Sorry.
Could I ask you some questions?
That is why I am here.
Nun,
Do you know Malia Getty?
Should I?
She referred me to your museum.
Many have read about our museum in the newspapers, Mr. Knight.
That's a good point. Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
No, I have not.
Do you have any idea what Cabri Saint-Gar means?
I fear my French is not all it should be, Mr. Knight.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Ah, you have perhaps noticed the museum's snake, Mr. Knight. They are beautiful creatures, do you not agree? And the tourists seem to associate them with voodoo.
What do you think of New Orleans?
It is the only city in the United States as far as I am concerned.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Historical voodoo? Or the voodoo currently practiced in the city?
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The killings in the newspaper? I know that they have nothing to do with true voodoo in New Orleans.
Tell me about historical voodoo.
Very well. I will start at the beginning, Mr. Knight,
Ja,
and will
unbedingt.
go on from there at your prompting.
Ist bestimmt super
Sounds
spannend.
As you may know, voodoo is a grassroots religion formed by the mixing together of many different African tribal religions and Anglo religions, such as Catholicism or Protestantism. In other words, it is a religion born of the African slave trade. But African slaves were imported not only by the United States, but also into the West Indies, where the French and Spanish ran plantation islands. Prior to 1803, the New Orleans area was owned by France. The French Creole in those days owned many African slaves. But the Creole did not permit their slaves to gather, giving no chance for voodoo to breed here natively. The Creole also knew enough about the corrupted pagan practices of the West Indies slaves to ban the importing of slaves from that region.
Tell me about current voodoo.
Many people think of voodoo in terms of magic spells or gree-gree. That kind of practice is actually called hoodoo, and is only a part of true voodoo. Voodoo, the religion, has a strong following in New Orleans. In fact, it is growing quite rapidly. There are several voodoo churches or temples in the city, and others all across the United States. African Americans see it as a tradition all their own. Whites, and there are many in their religion, are attracted to it because they think it is exotic. I, personally, am more interested in the history of voodoo. Some of the new movements are copying Haitian or even African voodoo. But it is the voodoo of New Orleans that I find so intriguing.
Ja, ja, ich bin tatsächlich müde. Ist ja auch schon spät. Ich habe auch gearbeitet, bin seit 4 Uhr morgens wach. Hoodoo.
Is there anything else I should know about hoodoo?
Not if your interest is primarily in voodoo. Hoodoo is of interest to those who study rural folk traditions, but it will not aid you in understanding true voodoo.
Hoodoo you voodoo, bitch.
Tell me about yourself.
Me?
Yes, if you don't mind.
What is it you wish to learn?
Just tell me anything.
I am originally from the West Indies myself, you know.
Really? What brought you to
Der
New
wäre nie
Orleans?
drauf gekommen.
I was drawn here for personal reasons.
Why did you open a voodoo museum?
The subject has fascinated me all my life, and I wanted to help preserve the cultural heritage it represents.
What kind of background in voodoo do you have?
Let us say that I cut my teeth on it, Mr. Knight. It is in my blood.
Do you do anything besides run the museum?
No. The museum does not make me a rich man, but my material needs are simple. I prefer to focus on my one true interest in life.
What are your own religious beliefs?
My beliefs are too personal and too complex to discuss with a layman, Mr. Knight.
Just tell me anything.
I am a vegetarian.
Oh,
Really? I can't imagine living without meat.
That must be the hunter in you, Mr. Knight.
der Hacker.
Actually, I can't think of a thing.
Then, let us discuss something else.
Ja, oder gar nicht. Das hätten wir dann wohl, wa? Kann ich den Sarg nochmal öffnen?
The little coffin is empty.
Auch keine Infos darüber von... nein. Nun gut.
Thanks a lot. Bye now.
Come back again.
Also zum Friedhof von St. Louise. Oh. Da haben wir hier zuerst mal... auf dem Boden gefunden ein Stück Kreide oder Ziegel.
It's a piece of brick.
Ja, okay. Mit dem dann wohl hier die Schmierereien an die Wand gemacht wurden.
The marks are reddish in color and reminds Gabriel of crosses. They look like they've been here a few days at least.
Übrigens eins der schwersten aller Rätsel, meiner Meinung nach.
I want a copy of these strange
Mal
marks.
sie einfach mal ab.
It's Gabriel's sketch of the series of crosses from the Laveau tomb wall.
Irgendwo konnte man noch irgendwo hingehen. Ah ja, genau.
The Wright family tomb. Several of Gabriel and Grant's family members are laid to rest here.
Okay. Das ist also unser
There's nothing on the tomb to operate.
Familiengrab.
There's the marker reads Harrison
Genau.
Knight.
Granddaddy.
Ein Bier geht so schnell aus, das gibt's doch nicht. Solange noch genug im Kühlschrank stehen.
The marker reads Harley Wright.
Grand sister. She died young.
The marker reads Merrill Planter Wright.
These are Grand's folks. I never knew.
The marker reads Franklin Wright.
These are Grand's folks. I never knew.
Na, welche sexy Leiche dürfen wir diesmal begatten?
The marker reads Philip Knight.
Daddy.
Ja, ist ein Anhaltspunkt.
The marker reads Margaret Templeton Knight.
My mother.
Okay, kann ich die irgendwie aufziehen?
The tomb is securely shut.
Auftreten, einschlagen, beschmutzen mit dem Ziegel.
Using that on the tomb would be pointless. Using the marble and granite. There's the statue. This family tomb bears the inscription, "Rest in peace," and the name, Fuller Mill. A statue of a small child clings to a cross atop the right tomb.
Creepy.
Vases seem to be a favorite decoration for the dead.
So. Gab es hier nicht irgendwo einen kleinen Schalter?
The marble.
Oder ein Tagebuch? Irgendwie konnte man das irgendwie... Ich weiß nicht, ob öffnen oder sonst was damit machen, aber ich glaube noch nicht.
The Wright family. The tomb is
Nun gut. Oh. Nein, hier konnte man etwas tun. Okay, warte.
This tomb is smaller than most others in the cemetery.
Kind of a pup tent for the dead.
There's a small marble plate near the tomb doors. The plate is locked in position. There's a keyhole on the plate, but Gabriel can't operate that without a key.
Ein Schlüsselloch.
This is the last.
Und einen Schlüssel haben wir nicht.
The vases don't function that way.
Ah, so ein blöder Scheißspruch,
The
ey.
The heavy marble doesn't budge. The tomb is much too heavy. The doors are heavy and shut tight. The tomb is closed. Gabriel doesn't... The plate is locked in position. There's a keyhole on the plate, but Gabriel can't operate that without a key. Moving the vases would...
Ja, sie runterstoßen
Moving the
vielleicht.
vases would not.
Möglicherweise ist da ja ein Schlüssel drin.
A stone angel leans down to gaze at something unseen.
Na gut, ich denke auch nicht momentan. Schon wieder die Schlange hier.
A marble snake. Now that's cheerful.
Gabriel has no reason to move the vat. The old man is apparently doing some cleanup work.
Oh. Aber wenn ich jetzt noch ein paar Lava halten muss, dann fallen mir gleich die Augen zu, Alter.
Excuse me, sir?
You got something to say, son?
Kind of a quiet job you've got, isn't it?
Most of the time, yeah. Yeah, they act up some at the full mood, though.
Was? Witzbold.
Mind if I pick your brain a minute?
Go ahead. These folks ain't in no hurry.
Tell me something about St. Louis Cemetery, number 1.
You know why the dead are buried in tombs and not in the ground, don't you? The water table's too high. Them coffins would float right out of their graves.
Okay.
Them dead would go floating right down into the water. Course, if it were Mardi Gras, nobody'd even notice.
Do you have any idea what Caprice Saint-Car means?
No, can't say that I do.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
They say it was part of an old religion from Africa, brought here by slaves.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Ain't it just awful, them finding those bodies with voodoo things around them? I don't think there's any real voodoo going on. Somebody's trying to cover their tracks is all.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
Seem like everybody want to visit New Orleans at least once in their lives. And they love the cemetery tour. I see tourists in here every day of the year.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? I see snakes around here all the time. Most of them ain't poisonous, of course.
Do you have any idea what Caprice Saint-Car means?
No, can't say that I do.
Have you ever heard the word Schottenjäger?
I don't know what you talking about.
Tell me about yourself.
My name is Toussaint Gervais. I'm the watchman here at St. Louis number 1.
What exactly do you do here?
Oh, I keep the place tidy, cause, but a big part of my job, too, is looking out for the grievers, you know. People come to pay their respects, and they need looking out for. Sometimes they so grief-bound they don't know what they doing.
Tell me.
It's a historical place. People buried in here from the Civil War, and back further.
Tell me about you.
That's about
That's
all there is to say.
Tell me something about St. Louis Cemetery, number 1.
Just look around. You get the feel of the place.
Okay, sonst. Boah, ich muss wirklich lassen zum Schluss kommen. Mir fallen
The old
buchstäblich
man wouldn't appreciate.
die Augen zu.
Gabriel does. The old man.
Von wegen weitermachen, bis ich nicht mehr weiterkomme. Ich glaube nicht. By the way. Ja, geh halt raus. Blöder Kerl. So. Was gibt es denn hier noch?
No, thanks. No. No. These would serve.
Okay, ich will es aber doch noch kurz mit dem, oder vielleicht mit dir über die Zeichen reden.
Excuse me, sir?
You got something to say, son?
Does this mean anything to you?
Sure. I see them marks all the time on tubes. Don't know what they mean, though.
Es nicht mehr geht, Schinden musste Schinden, ja vermutlich, Schinden musste sich auch nicht. Und das Spiel hat es noch nicht verdient. Das stimmt allerdings. So ein wunderbares Spiel hat das nicht verdient, dass man das so... sich so
Hello, Dr. John.
verpeilt
Glad you could
durchbeißt,
return to us, Mr. Knight.
sondern das Spiel hat es verdient, dass man ihm jede Minute, jede Sekunde vollste Aufmerksamkeit zollt. Das allerdings.
Do these symbols mean anything to you?
No. They look like nonsense to me. Where did you get them, if I might inquire?
I saw them
Gefunden.
scribbled somewhere. Just graffiti, I guess.
I see. By the way, I forgot to warn you, Mr. Knight. The local cemeteries are quite dangerous.
Aha.
Muggers, vandals. I would avoid going there alone, if I were you.
Really?
Ah,
Thanks for the
das ist eine
advice.
Drohung, hä? Und du weißt also, dass sie vom Friedhof... Natürlich weißt du, dass sie vom Friedhof stammen. Du elender Kerl.
I'll be going.
Walk carefully out there, Mr. Knight.
So gut, ich gehe zurück in die Buchhandlung.
Lucy, home.
Mhm.
I wish you wouldn't wear that coat outside in June. I could smell you from here.
Nun gut, vielleicht haben wir einen Tag abgeschlossen. Wer weiß, ich frage mal die gute Grace, ob irgendwas geschehen ist.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Nachrichten,
Do you have messages for me?
Nope.
Nachforschungen.
Could you do some research for...
Sure. What?
I need you to look up a Madame Cazeneuve.
Madame Cazeneuve? Is she related to the murders the same way your friend, Malia Getty, was?
Grace, Cazeneuve's at least 70.
As if that makes a difference to you. Okay, I'll see what I can find. Anything else?
Moment nicht.
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
So, und sonst,
Do you know what Caprice encore means?
macht sie jetzt gleich Feierabend? Mal gucken. Nein, nein, gut. Dann gibt es an diesem Tag also noch Dinge zu tun. Aber ja, wie bereits gesagt, nicht heute.